Oh, it looks like Ray was on the play there, and he did do a turn 1 play nothing, which is never a good feeling.
Yep, had to ink the Beast and ink a Pete, but he gets the Calhoun down, which is a great card to challenge these early Emerald Amethyst cards, as it's going to pretty well trade with everything and trade up, gain you lore.
Now it's the first time Ursula's gonna come for your songs,
Yep.
which I love when they do that. He's like, I'll do the work for you. I'll separate it.
2 options here. Opts to go with the Strength of a Raging Fire, which I think is the correct choice. You want to make sure that your characters remain on the board as long as possible.
Definitely. And, you know, stall for his board can get pretty wide pretty fast. So that's a good call on his part.
Yeah, decides to cash in the Chernobog's followers there. Not really good to leave that exerted with the Calhoun on board. We see the Prince John come down, but not really any discard in Ray's hand right now. So not a huge threat. Sploosh McGoo has to be feeling pretty good here. He's got a full hand compared to only 3 in Ray's. A lot of options certainly to think through.
Exactly. So Calhoun, yeah, you don't want to feed her. She's ready. She's ready to come in, I'm sure.
Another Ursula.
So that's got to hurt, knowing that he's hurting for cards right now.
Yep.
Yeah, that Pete's going to come a turn too late to stop. Well, we'll see. I mean, I'm not sure he knows what he's fishing for, especially against Sploosh McGoo. Sorry, it's a hard name to say. Seriously, Sploosh McGoo's deck. But he is, going to go ahead and ink that Pete, just knowing that, he doesn't really necessarily know what action he needs to stop right now.
Great draw off the top for Ray, though. Does find the Sudden Chill, is able to sing it. Now we'll be able to refill his hand a little bit. Of course, we see the Pluto Guard Dog come down as Sploosh McGoo deciding what he wants to discard, but this is going to help Ray get that draw engine on. If he keeps drawing discard like this, he'll get right back into the game and no problem. Does decide to quest with the Prince John, an interesting decision considering he's playing against Amethyst. There are things like Fox that could come in and clean up, but of course the Pluto Guard Dog is out there, so
yeah, so good. Pluto, he's protected him. Prince John can be kind of, it feels sometimes like he is just an item because he doesn't know his quest. But today he'll carry his weight. He's gonna quest for 2, which feels good.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way to get through this Pluto to the Prince John, so
not looking like it unless he had some kind of crab situation. But
there's the Fox.
Well, it's a good way to start.
Might want to.
So did he bounce?
He did not quest with the Ursula before playing the Fox.
Which, he was very, sometimes I do that where I'm like, I got to get rid of this. I'm so focused on getting rid of the target that I'm like, I don't have time. But it does look like he only gets 1 there. So
down goes the Fox. The Fox does get the 2 for 1 technically, but more like a 2 for 2 since the Ursula did have to crash into the Pluto before the Fox could. So you don't feel too bad if you're Ray gaining 2 lore there, putting down the Ursula, getting to see the hand of Sploosh McGoo. But you want to continue to find some discard here. Unfortunately, wasn't able to hit a song.
All right, so we do see Sploosh definitely setting up to try to get a few more cards with that Diablo and Merlin. So he's feeling a lot more comfy than Ray, who's sitting with precisely 1 card currently.
Yeah, and Sploosh McGoo ironically does have the discard going here with the Curse of Merfolk, which quests for 2. Ursula looks like she finds a Sudden Chill, is able to sing it, and is going to feed Ray's hand a little bit more off of this Prince John. So luckily able to get these Sudden Chills time in and time out. Finds another one. That's the 3rd one early here in the game, and the bell goes out for Sploosh McGoo. And is that an empty hand for him now?
Yeah, I mean, now he's saying, it's interesting he's not challenging the Merfolks knowing he has nothing to discard, but does look like he passed there.
Yeah, I mean, you never know with these Amethyst decks. He does have a Diablo and a Rabbit out, so could potentially start bouncing and things like that to refill that hand really quickly. So I guess Ray just wants to keep that Prince John out, save him for a
Oh,
later date.
good point. Yeah, at this point with Diablo, now that engine can really start cooking. So yeah, that makes they can do some more mischief. Oh, so we got Mother Knows Best here, so he's gonna go ahead and target
His own Rabbit.
Yeah, so he's digging here.
And a Clarabelle.
Now, Clarabelle is someone I miss seeing. She was very popular, and then we didn't see a lot of her, but I'm excited that this deck is utilizing her now. Not so great to draw up to the size of Ray's hand. So if he does shift into a larger Clarabelle, not great right now, but maybe later it could be beneficial.
Yeah, I have a teammate who plays Emerald Steel mid-range decks and plays the Clarabelle, and it's the bane of my existence as an Amethyst player.
Like, thank you. And you're like, stop it. So he is finally going to go ahead and get rid of that Curse Merfolk. We got the double Diablo. So now it's our comrade, our draw step next turn.
Yep, and the bounces for the Rabbit are looking a lot less enticing now that there is an exerted Diablo out there. Really nice for Ray to challenge with that Diablo, remove the Curse Merfolk with no cards in hand, so did not have to discard. See a Genie come down, Ray's going to draw a card off of that, but sort of a necessary evil here. When the Diablos are out, you have to put answers down, and Genie is certainly one of them if he's able to remain onto the board. Go-Go, another evasive character that can challenge into these Diablos next turn.
Excuse me. All right. So yeah, the boards are getting wider here, which both of these decks don't have a lot of great solutions to wide boards, but that's both of their goal is to kind of build up their board. So it's going to be interesting to see because things can kind of snowball quite fast with both of their decks.
Potential beast here. Yep, we do see the beast come down. Another draw engine, as if Ray did not have enough with the Prince John 2 Diablos. Let's throw a beast in the mix and draw 2 cards at the start of my turn.
It's interesting to see how fast that momentum turned around. He went from having I have no cards to being like, I'm good.
Oh, those sudden chills off the top were absolutely amazing for Ray. Just one after the other with the Prince John on board. Exactly what he needed to see. If he didn't find those, things were looking very dire.
Yeah, so he's got a happy hand now and sitting, not going to quest, keep his board protected here.
Yeah, deciding not to quest the Genie and the Go-Go, just too threatening without anything to remove them. And Sploosh is just going to go wide here, continuing to just empty his hand out, devalue that Prince John as much as possible. And he says, hey, if you're not going to quest, I will.
Exactly. Yeah, so now the race is starting. Basically, he's comfortable, especially knowing at this point he is at, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He is at Lorthel. So and with the goat. Yeah. It's not allowed in the sense that I did ask Steve this weekend during my meet and greet. I was like, how do you feel about Lorthel? He's like, what? I was like, not lethal, Lorthel. And he went, So I don't think we're going to get it in any kind of publication anytime soon. So he's starting to look at working down this board and get through one turn here. Not impossible to work around. He does know that there's still that goat and some bouncing mischief that can go on, but he is taking care of some of those targets.
Thinking about exerting 4, could see the Muses or potential Pluto coming down onto the board.
Yeah, Pluto could be nice here to protect his soldiers here. Oh,
there is the Muses. Hopefully he has a song to follow it up so he can start bouncing things here, because the lore totals are looking kind of scary on Sploosh's side.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we know he's played 3 Sudden Chills. I mean, in theory, he has perhaps a Storm Rage on, but it doesn't look like he has any songs this turn. So instead, he's just going to play an extremely wide board.
Yep, does decide to remove the Rabbit, which turns off the beasts and gives Sploosh a card that the Diablos do not draw off of, but he will draw 2 here at the start of Sploosh's turn. We'll see what he's got. Currently has 5 lore on the board. Could be 6 with the goat bounce.
Yeah, the goat is simultaneously many lore or 1 lore. It's always interesting to see.
Or could potentially bounce the go-go for Lorthel here.
Yeah, that's another point. I always forget the go-go's like a emerald lucky dime. She's there to just do the math, but he's thinking. He put those 2 cards down, whatever those are. I don't know if they're good or. All right.
Looking like a quest here. Has to have it, right?
Yeah, that's a confident play to quest. Yeah.
Yep, bounces the fox, and that'll do it.
Dang.
The Go-Go Tamago, just so powerful. A card that you don't necessarily need to play down to gain the lore immediately, like we saw Sploosh do. Put it down without gaining the lore just to threaten the Diablos, which stopped Ray from questing for an entire turn. And he lost out on so much card draw there, Ray did, from that amazing tempo play by Sploosh, and then able to recur it later with his Amethyst cards. Just something you really, really have to be aware of when playing against Emerald.
Yeah, and it shows that some of those, I mentioned that he added in the Pluto and the Beast, and those can be pretty dangerous against Go-Go, because suddenly you're having those bigger bodies where you can get up those bigger damage totals. So, Prince John's not going to give you a lot for Go-Go, but Beast will. So that can be up to 4 there. So it's interesting to see why that can be a little bit of a downside to have a big body.
Yeah, unfortunately for Ray, did have to crash into that rabbit, take that 2 damage, which did end up being the untimely end for Ray. But if he didn't do that, the goat would have been bounced by the fox and would have won the game regardless. So just stuck between a rock and a hard place there against these Amethyst Emerald decks, which can gain so much lore seemingly out of nowhere.
Yeah, it gets it just feels like there's whatever you hope they don't have, they're usually like, that's exactly what I have in my hand right now. So they're going to go ahead and alter, knowing now what they're up against. So that's going to kind of change here. Ray might be looking a little bit different at his starting hand. I assume both of them want Recurse Merfolk. Isn't that what everybody wants?
Yeah. Gotta go fast. Ray decides to go for 4 here. Is Sploosh keeping all 7? Or did he already alter? Did I miss that?
I was watching both the screens at the same time. I'm going back and forth. So
I think they kept all 7. I didn't see a shuffle there. So got to be feeling pretty confident off of that. We often see these Emerald Steel decks sending back a whole ton of cards on their altar phase.
So let's see here. All right. So he's going to go ahead and Ink Strength, which can't feel great. And then he didn't hit any songs, which also probably doesn't feel great. Now, he knows that there's an Ursula on the other side, so he probably is not too sad to get that strength out of his hand. But knowing that this is an aggro race, then sometimes that strength can be a nice thing to have in your back pocket.
Yeah, does get rid of the strength. Of course, like you said, cognizant of that Ursula. If you're playing against a deck and you know they have Ursulas, ink those friends, ink those strengths. That way the Ursula doesn't rip them for free and you do get some sort of value out of them. Of course, it hurts to ink them, but it's better than discarding them. That's for sure. Ray.
So yeah, Ray went ahead and, or rather Sploosh took game 1, right?
Or yeah,
Sploosh took game 1 here. And then, so Ray, he's coming up, and doing pretty good here. He's got a Calhoun, which I always think is a fantastic aggro beat down, especially looking at some of the cards he's putting on his board right now. You might lose 1 card, but man, it'd feel nice to get 2 lore and stop that Curse Merfolk from questing.
Yeah, has a bunch of little 1-drops here, but with the Calhoun out, that pretty much completely stops them from doing anything, freezes them in their tracks. And now you've got an Ursula that you definitely don't want singing anything twice. So if there's any way to remove that, maybe a Cloud Kicker or something like that, now's the time to put that down, because an Ursula 3 singing twice, there it is. The
Yeah.
Kit Cloud Kicker had to do it.
Yeah, either that or some kind of Ursula, because, you know, Storm Rage on would be devastating to his board right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Let the Storm Rage on. Strength of Raging Fire, Sudden Chill, any of
Yeah,
those
they're all
are
bad.
brutal at this stage in the game, especially with the current board state where the Calhoun has just got everything in gridlock right now. None of these Emerald or Amethyst cards are able to turn sideways as long as Calhoun is out here protecting the board.
All right, so he's like, I'll try again this time. Don't bounce that kit, as I'm sure what he's thinking, because all it does take is now he can't. I mean, technically he could. He's at, let's see, 6, or sorry, not 6 ink. That'd be ridiculous. He's at 3 ink going on 4, so he can't bounce and play a kit on the same turn.
Right now, I think Ursula 2 is the best card you could possibly play. See what that song is, take it out before Ursula could sing it, because at this point, like you said, unless there's another kit there, Ursula's going to sing something, right? he put the card down for a reason. There's got to be a song in there. So Ursula 2 would be amazing to see if you're Sploosh, but I think if he has it, he'd probably play it. But we'll see.
Yeah. The question of the day, does he have the meats? He might have the meat sweats. Is that a saying? I don't know. So
I would if I were.
He's doing. I mean, you know, it's not good when you keep turning your card sideways and you're like, oh, that's the sound I imagine he's making. We can't hear him, but that's what I think he's making. Is the
Quest? Don't do. What do I do?
Yeah,
potentially thinking about returning the Merfolk back to his hand with like a fox or something and replaying it, but that doesn't do much. And you know, this Ursula is probably going to sing something and wreck your side of the board. Goes for the genie.
Yeah, just saying, okay, well, maybe I can come back after this, because he could, I mean, very easily go wide again. And he does go ahead and pass. So let's see. Could he could have no song. It's gotta be a bluff, but I'm feeling there's something coming.
Strength of Raging Fire here would be the most devastating, I think. Removes the genie cleanly and could remove probably the Cursed Merfolk, I would say. But Let the Storm Rage On does get rid of genie as well, but it takes both instances of singing there. He's going to look for another card and remove one of Sploosh's with Hypnotize.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm like, okay, does he have a song?
Maybe it was a bluff. Here she goes. What's she singing? I'm still here. That's the best case scenario, surely.
It is. It's just, I'll beef up my guys a lot, which, you know, it's not so bad. I mean, so I guess he's going to give 2 characters here resist. I'm wondering.
Likely going to be the Ursula and something else. Or
Yeah,
just
perhaps.
go double Ursula. Draw 2.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, you don't want it being removed by a fox or something like that. It's just too powerful a card. You just drew 2 additional cards. So maybe you'll find a better song to sing to help deal with this side of the board. But seeing I'm Still Here come down, you have to feel some sort of relief if you're Sploosh. Your whole board could have been removed essentially on that turn. And really, it's just draw 2 and keep the Ursula safe for another turn.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, I mean, the bluffing of the fear of what she might have made it where he didn't cost with anything last turn. So,
Yep.
You know, he did get value out of the menacing of what Ursula could do versus what she ended up actually doing, which is still not bad, but, you know, a little less scary than a card draw and board taking down his board by 2 characters.
Yeah, I could potentially see another Cloud Kicker stall turn if he has the Madam Mim Snake to send that Ursula back to hand. While it does have the extra resist bonuses, that doesn't give it additional strength to protect it from Kit. So if he has that, it's not a bad option, right? Make sure that the Ursula can't sing another potential song in there and maybe search for an answer like Elsa the Fifth Spirit.
Now, does I'm Still Here go to the bottom of your deck after you sing it?
With Ursula, yeah, the songs go to the bottom.
There you go. Yep. Sorry, I was like, well, that was weird, but don't. Okay, so that's why. And so he did go ahead and ink the big bad Ursula, which I love, and it is a menace to the double singing Ursula. But unfortunately, no time for that right now. She is inked.
There's the Elsa.
Oh, so trying to get rid of that Diablo shift line, tapping down little baby Diablo. And
yeah, that Elsa would have been great if it wasn't I'm Still Here. Would have been a decent, clean answer to the Ursula, but unfortunately not able to do that this turn, and will have to hold his breath on the next turn
Yeah.
to see what could potentially be sung by Ursula again.
Yeah, he has 3 cards in hand now, and I mean, obviously, what he drew, those 2 cards, he couldn't then sing with Ursula that turn, so it's very possible he was able to get, a song he needed there, uh, but we'll see. It looks like he thought he was passing, and he's like, "Wait." So, 'cause he readied his
Yeah.
answer, and then oh, alright, he says, "This is worth it. We'll get rid of your Curse Merfolk, and I'll get rid of that discard my own Fox."
Decides to get rid of the Fox. Really, really powerful card, I think, in this matchup, but opts to get rid of it. We'll see what comes down. A Beast. There's that
Yeah.
draw engine that Ray's been looking for, and with the Elsa already on the board, gotta feel pretty safe.
Yeah, knowing that he has more draw coming, that does make it where he is a little less afraid of that Curse Merfolk. So he does go ahead and challenge with Calhoun and go up by 2.
Does the Ursula have a song? 2 cards in hand, doesn't look like it.
Man.
Saved again. Luckily for
know.
me as a Ruby player, I just brawl that Ursula and keep it moving, but it's been really stressful for Sploosh these past couple turns. I'm on the edge of my seat wondering what could possibly be sung by this Ursula. It's just such a scary threat on the board.
I will say you don't get to see her stay on board for multiple. That's a very rare character to see hang around. So
Yeah.
watching her be there and just be like, she's menacing, or she's just sitting there menacing. Now Calhoun, her reign is over. She got her kid
Ooh.
there. Ooh, that's now Elsa. She had only 1 damage on her, so Belle's gonna come in and just be able to move 1 damage, which he could technically target his own Diablo there to
Well,
get.
Elsa challenged into Calhoun with
Oh,
Cloud Kicker, so she had
God.
3. So removing the full 3 can either remove the Ursula, but decides to go for the Beast. I think that's
Yeah.
a good choice. Sensing that Ray does not have a song in his hand and stops Beast from drawing the additional card, I think that's a pretty solid decision on Sploosh's side.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, you can try and top deck it if you'd like, but I'm going to make it a bit harder by preventing your Beast from drawing an additional card.
And things kind of changed fast over there. The board state flipped pretty quickly. Now we still have the Ursula that could maybe sing, possibly.
The threat is going lower and lower and lower as this game continues. Now we have a big side for Sploosh. We have characters with significant amounts of willpower. So even if a song like Strength of Raging comes down, it would take Ursula singing it twice on just one character to remove it. And same with Let the Storm Rage On. So the threats are going down with this Ursula. Unfortunately, Ray's not been able to find those songs that he wants when he needed them.
No, yeah, he's been ready for a song this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting it. So
While I'm Still Here is a great song sung by the lead singer of the Goo Goo Dolls. I love that song from Treasure Planet. It was not necessarily the song that Ray wanted to see.
I know that the crowd went mild when that was not. Now he is going to go ahead. Whoop, he's thinking about moving somebody to the Cove, and he's going to put Diablo to say, "Please, Diablo, hang tight."
Yeah, I think he needs to put the Diablo there to try and get a draw engine going.
Yeah, because he's sitting across. He's got I guess 6 on the other side, so he can make 1 more turn. So he just has to have a healthy board, make it, see what happens this turn.
Yeah, 1 card in hand, and it's looking pretty rough for Ray currently. Because even if that Diablo does end up getting exerted, Elsa and Genie can mop it up, no problem, and they both remain on the board. He needs to find a song, and he needs to find one quick. Preferably not Sudden Chill. He needs some removal here, I think.
Yeah, that would be, a Storm, well, yeah, Strength would be probably more impactful here at this point. But he puts his 2 cards down. He's trying to think too, like, how do I get this very not menacing but menacing Ursula, this Diablo? He has a very healthy board state of things that could be a problem, but will they?
Yeah, and things can change quickly. As you mentioned earlier, we saw Ray in the driver's seat, but wasn't able to find those songs. And now Sploosh has taken complete control. Things could swing back into Ray's favor if he's able to find something. But the Ursula gets returned by the Kit Cloud Kicker. Oh, and that might be all she wrote.
Yeah, that Ursula never got to do her favorite act of singing some removal. But we'll see. We got, he's going to trade here with accomplished Mystic Bell. And that Diablo's in danger. Obviously he wants to turn that Diablo sideways for many reasons, but wow. Okay.
Class challenges.
Okay. So it's a Diablo on Diablo challenge here.
Yep, Diablo on Diablo violence. You hate to see it.
You do. Oh, so he's like, I'm committed. I need to do this. And
you know what Ursula just said? I'm still here.
She did. She said that was actually a hint. I will never leave. But yeah.
Ray in a really tough position. I mean, that's saves you for a turn. There's technically only 4 Lord on the board.
Yeah, now Gogo isn't going to be able to do any of her mischief easily. It looks like, no. So he's going to ink his own Gogo.
Decides to ink the Ursula had 2 the whole time.
Yeah, he's like, I have a problem. I'm resplendent with useless Ursulas, but he will go ahead and play Gogo and go. But he didn't have enough ink to get the 1 lore off of her. She's just hanging out there. Now, something that's interesting that a man in the booth has said, I don't want to take credit for it, but the beast there, he didn't have to go to the cove because the beast was a 5. Now we know this is when people say, I always say, like, this is how you can tell something went wrong is after the match if they're like, where are my cards? Which is what he's doing there. He's going, I know I built this deck. I know I shuffled it. Where were you? And so that's heartbreaking for Ray because he had a beautiful board state several times. I was sitting there ready to do some. I mean, we saw with Sploosh just I'm not questing. This is horrifying. And then Ray was like, I'm waiting, and didn't happen. So that was everything you would like to see to set up, but unfortunately not enough to resolve the mischief that his deck is meant to do.
Yeah, just unfortunate draws on Ray's side. Like seeing all those sudden chills come in to bring him back in the game 1, but was not able to find those songs that he desperately needed to find with that Ursula setup for so many turns. But I think we're going to hop in here and talk to the players real quick.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Will I sound... Oh.
Hello, can you all hear me as well?
Can anybody?
Yes, we can.
We can hear you.
Somebody somewhere can hear someone.
Okay, do you have an echo? If you can mute yourself in Ninja, I think it'll solve it. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, so I mean that was a really interesting match. I thought that Ray had set himself up for success, but really wasn't able to capitalize on that Ursula. That had to be so scary for Sploosh the entire second game, just sitting there menacingly. Like if this sings Strength of Raging Fire or Let the Storm Rage On, I'm cooked. But I'm Still Here came down, and things just didn't pan out. Where were the songs at?
I don't know, bottom, unfortunately, when I checked. Yeah, it's just sometimes like the nature of the card game, right?
Yeah.
You draw hot and things goes well, and then you can just draw poorly and just play the best you can with what you have, right? To try to make things happen.
It also helped that you didn't see the Diablo shift line at all, so...
No, I did not. Yeah, that will definitely play a big factor too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting in the first match how Ray was able to come back with those sudden chills after sudden chill after sudden chill coming off the top of his deck, feeding his hand with the Prince John on board. And then we got to like the mid game where it was sort of a standstill, and Ray was unable to quest with his Diablos. Ray, can you just talk me through that mid game of the first game? What
Yeah,
were you looking for there
so
specifically?
my thought process in that situation was I did have a Ursula on board, so I was kind of in the same situation where um, if I lose those Diablos at that moment, I think I would lose the game.
Right.
So because of that, I can afford to wait one more turn because I'm getting card draw off of my tragic hero. And then if I were to get a action off the top, I did happen to have a Muse in hand as well. So I'll be able to switch the momentum right away by removing his characters, bouncing them back, and then my Diablo could possibly draw me into more songs on the following turn to just like seal the deal. So I was setting up for that kind of gameplay where like, sometimes you just gotta play what is your best chance of winning opposed to playing safe and then you just end up losing.
I'm not sure if you guys hear me now, but I came in
Yes.
late. But it was.
Yes, we can.
I'm sure you're saying the things that I would expect you to say that Ursula didn't get to sing her favorite song.
Yeah.
But so that was the showdown of the emeralds and its favorite friends of amethyst and emerald steel.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt, I definitely lucked out that Ray unfortunately drew poorly and didn't see the Diablo shift line, as
Yeah.
well as initially in game one, I was able to discard 2 of the songs with the back-to-back Ursulas, and then eventually he hit me. He backhanded me with a bunch of the discard the oh no, uh, Ray, help me out.
Yeah, it was a sudden
Sudden chill.
hypnotize into sudden chill, sudden
That
chill.
was really, yeah. I was like, wow, 3 sudden chills.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
allowed? Are you allowed to do that? Like, we did.
I think
Normally
in
that's game breaking for most decks, but I couldn't win the board, so I ended up losing on that game. I just one removal away, yeah, to really seal the deal for that one.
Well, you
And
had
then
all
in-
of us believing you had it.
Yeah, it felt that way both games, right? Like you just needed one of those removal cards to make it happen.
Yes.
Obviously, you had to ink the Strength of Raging Fire in game 2 for the potential Ursula that would come down and rip it out of your hand, but you just needed to find like any of them, I feel like, and you could have clawed your way back in with that Ursula. It was just, we were talking about it on the on the broadcast, just so scary, like sitting there menacingly, and like I was saying, as a Ruby player, I just brawl her and move on, but Sploosh had to deal with her like a bouncer. She comes back, and then she's got
Yep.
like resist 500, and you can't
Yeah.
challenge with your Elsa, and it was just it was a stressful situation for sure.
I was sincerely hoping when he sang, I was like, oh, I have a mim in hand. If it's anything except for that one song, I could have, on the following turn, assuming he didn't somehow wipe out my entire board, I'd be able to mim Fox, take it out, and move on with my life. But that was not the case. And then I did have a kind of second guessed on my bell. I was like, I know the way he's based off of what he's doing, he likely doesn't have the strength or the storm, and I could have belled the 3 damage and taken out the Ursula, but I also didn't want to afford him the extra card draw. I kind of gambled a bit, and thankfully it paid off. But at any point in time with that Ursula still on board, he could have made a very easy comeback. So
Yeah. Yeah, that Ursula, it's she just sits there. You're like, she could do anything. But I don't think you would have bet money that she was gonna sing I'm Still Here twice, but she did.
no, I did not.
For Emerald Steel, people think Diablo is a scary card, but unfortunately, like the Ursula is the most dangerous card in Emerald Steel. That people tend to make a mistake in terms of removing the right target.
Yeah, the Ursula can hurt you a lot more than a Diablo, you
Yeah.
don't want to see your opponent draw cards, but you definitely
Yeah.
don't want to have your opponent just start.
She wins the board, and
Yeah.
Diablo is essentially the fuel for her to keep getting those removals.
Yeah, and
Right.
as we saw with the the Diablo, I mean, he has to be afraid of both the genie and Elsa just saying, "Well, I'll take care of you. I don't need." They
Yeah.
have many solutions. So I thought, you did everything was set up. It was one of those matches where I'm like, "Oh, he's about to do it." So I'm sure you felt the same pain we were feeling on the side of, "Huh,
Yeah,
your
it
cards were
happens.
hiding." But so that was round 2. So I guess Sploosh McGoo, congratulations.
Thank you so
Great
much,
for
and
taking
thank you
home
for
that.
having us again.